Hey everyone, and welcome to another Game Explained discussion. I'm your host, Derek Bittner, and I'm joined today by John Cartwright and Ash Polson to discuss the release of Terry and Sakurai's presentation on him. So, yeah, let's get right to it. Alright guys, so we had this nice early morning Terry breakdown with Sakurai where we were just questioning what the heck he was going to show about Terry, why this was going to take 45 minutes, and we got our answer. It's because Sakurai was going to teach us how to play fighting games.
Yeah,
Pretty
basically.
much.
Well, that, and he's also going to show us what classic mode is in Smash Bros. Ultimate, as if we didn't already know. Like, that was so weird that he just showed us something that any player could have just done themselves as soon as they downloaded the 6.0 update. That was so weird.
Mm-hmm. Did he at least break down the references?
They did. Well, in classic mode, they kind of did. So the references were basically the classic mode characters are coming in groups, in teams. So you have like Mario and Rosalina and Peach, and then you've got like Zelda and Link and Sheik. And that's basically what he explained. So it wasn't that in-depth. So honestly, classic mode was a big chunk of this presentation, and it wasn't really all that impactful, really.
I don't even mind that we got so much time focused on just Terry. I mean, I think we had to expect that. I just wish the 45-minute thing, of course, made us kind of think, well, maybe there's another angle here. And I'm not upset that there wasn't another angle. I just wish it had been like a 25-minute or 30-minute presentation without the classic mode part. I really don't think they needed that. And it just kind of brought down the whole presentation for me, too, like pacing-wise as well. So, I'm not going to be one of those, oh, we didn't get another character, oh, we didn't get these stages. Obviously, none of that was ever promised or even suggested. But did we really need classic mode as part of this presentation to, push it up to 45 minutes?
You bring up a good point there, though, Ash. Like, they actually set expectations for this. They said no new characters going to be announced, this is just a Terry presentation. But that still didn't stop the speculation. People went into this expecting there to be, like Sakurai's trolling us, he's lying to us, of course there's going to be a new character. When in reality it was just a Terry presentation.
Yeah.
And in that respect, I don't think it was bad. I mean, they definitely showed Terry in a lot of depth, but there certainly could have been a bit of the fat trimmed in there.
I would have thought that having Sakurai go through classic mode would have just been an opportunity to explain more about the King of Fighters series, why it's three characters and stuff like that. But it just doesn't seem like he took that opportunity and just like, here's classic mode. It just seems like that's all it was. Obviously, that fat could have been trimmed and would have been completely fine. It's just a little mystifying, and all in all, maybe he just really wanted to play as Terry.
You know what it was? Is he was flexing, because he finished it at 9.9. That's what he was.
Oh, okay.
He finished at 9.9, so he was flexing.
On the positive side as well, Sakurai is absolutely hilarious. There were some laugh-out-loud moments in this presentation.
Oh, yeah.
Like, what was the part where he basically said that Smash is for good little boys and girls? That line was so good.
That is going to be a meme. That's going to be, if it's not already, that's going to be meme-ified instantly. Because, I mean, the context there, for those who haven't seen it, was because he was talking about Mai Shiranui being one of the most popular King of Fighters characters, not making an appearance, even though there are like 20 other cameos on the King of Fighters Stadium stage. And the reason why Mai doesn't appear is because, and John quotes, because Smash is for good little boys and girls. And I think you can probably infer what he means by that without us having to spell it out for you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And now which means that Bayonetta is for good little boys and girls.
Exactly.
Which is
apparently
amazing to me.
And and sure as shooting, I didn't want to say shooting, but I can't say what I really wanted to say. There are already people on Twitter that are like, well, this is ridiculous. Why can't we have Mai if we can have Bayonetta and we can have all these other... And it's like, it's not a big deal.
It really is.
It's the biggest deal in the world.
The biggest. It's, yeah. Two big deals, really, if you think about it.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Okay, then. Well, moving on.
Ash and I watched this presentation together, and I think we both kind of had the same first impressions, which was Terry looks and plays a lot like Ryu. But then, I guess as it went on, you start to see some of his defining traits. He's far more aggressive than Ryu, for one. And when you get like a chance to play as him, he is just... Like, he actually does go over the top with his moves, where I think Ryu's kind of a bit reserved. Terry just has these over-the-top, really powerful attacks.
And I found it interesting that Sakurai was comparing Terry to Ryu, when usually I think it's Ken that's considered Terry's de facto rival from Street Fighter. And even though compared to Ken, like Ken and Ryu play very methodically, very like their game of origin, Street Fighter 2. Terry feels I know his moves come out slower, but he feels faster. He gets in faster, he gets out faster. His specials give him more mobility in general than Ryu's and Ken. So to me, he feels like a faster, scrappier version of Ryu and Ken. And I actually, I would say I've only played as him for about half an hour so far, putting together the videos we've done so far. But I'm already enjoying playing as him more than I ever have Ryu or Ken. So I can see Terry as a character that I'm not going to main him or probably play him a ton, but I'll come back to him for sure.
Yeah, he's a pretty complicated character too. Like, you can get some good combos in there. I was against someone online, and he literally struck me with maybe 6 combos in a row, and you can cancel out of animations as well, so he's definitely one of the more technical characters in the game.
Yeah, that's the sense I got, because, I'm not a fighting game expert whatsoever, but fighting through classic mode, the spirits, all that stuff, I was finding myself chaining his moves together, figuring out what the spacing was, what works best, what would be best in each situation, and it just felt really good to use Terry, much more so than I ever felt with Ryu or Ken, mainly because of the reasons Ash said, and Terry just ended up being kind of a new favorite. I didn't really expect that. I don't know if he's going to be a main or anything, but he's definitely fun to use, much more so than I think the Street Fighter characters, which is funny to say. And I don't know. He's just has that good range. He has can power through a lot, and he just felt really good. I think that kind of makes up for the fact that he's really not as complicated as what we've got before. He doesn't even have kind of a special thing like Banjo-Kazooie with the Wonder Wing. He is, like, his special thing seems to be that he actually has 2 different side specials, which I love. That's really fun to use. And
there's also, of course, when you get above 100%, you can unleash those, I guess the super specials?
His super specials, yeah.
Yeah.
I think the thing with Terry is that he does have a lot of unique qualities. They're just more behind the scenes, that you don't really see them in front of you as often. With Hero, you've got the command spells, that's obvious. Joker has Arsene, he's got the Rebellion Meter. Banjo-Kazooie have the Wonder Wing. With Terry, you've got stuff like you can cancel out of animations, like you can cancel out of normals into specials. You've got the super specials, you've got the command inputs, you've got 2 different side specials. But that's, like, other than the side specials, that stuff isn't always on the screen in front of you. So I think Terry is mechanically very unique, but in terms of his skill set and what he actually does in front of you all the time, it's not as obvious as someone like Hero.
Sure. I think in that regard, I'm probably not going to play Terry as much as the other DLC characters. For one, I do really like him, but the other DLC characters I have a much stronger relationship with. And I've been playing Banjo, since he's released. I've not put him down. He's been my main since then. And I'm not entirely sure Terry's going to be the same, but I can understand for some people, of course, they're going to love this character. And it's great that there's different representations in Smash now. Because we've got Joker for Japan, Hero for Japan as well, and then we've got Banjo for the West, and now we've got Terry for Latin America and other more niche audiences.
Right, and now we just need at least 1 female in the DLC that isn't a bird.
Sure.
Just one. Just one.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Come on.
I gotta admit, it was really cool when I was going through Classic Mode, because I don't think you guys had the opportunity for that yet, but the last match was against Ryu, Ken, and Terry, and it really did feel like a fighting game at that point, like a traditional fighting game, just the way it was all working and the way I was getting the combos out. It felt really good, and I was like, man, that's a nice touch when you can have these characters have this arena and make it feel more like a fighting game than a Smash game.
Is the entire classic mode with percentage on rather than the traditional smashing mechanics?
Yeah, it's all HP based.
Right. Yeah, so that definitely goes a step forward. I think Ryu and Ken had a very similar kind of setup. But yeah, it's one of the more distinct classic modes. Sakurai showed all of us it on the stream. But yeah, I had a pretty good time with this presentation, honestly, because I think Sakurai really makes you understand how big of a deal this character was. One of the first things he said was, people often say that Fatal Fury is a Street Fighter 2 clone, and he goes on to say apparently this was done in tandem with Street Fighter 2, so it wasn't copying it was just doing its own thing. And he just goes on for 10 minutes about why SNK is such a meaningful thing, how big they were in the arcades, how much of an impact they made on the industry. And even without Fatal Fury and King of Fighters, Smash probably wouldn't have even been a thing. A ton of Smash mechanics come from that series.
Mm-hmm. That's a great point. That was one of my 2 favorite parts of the presentation. Just the fact that we got that in-depth look and history lesson on why SNK is so important. Now, of course, the people in this discussion don't necessarily need it as much, but we've seen how tepid the reaction to Terry has been in the West. And I think that's because a lot of people playing Smash right now, the current audiences, don't have that historical context. So for those audiences, I think it's really great that Sakurai went all in on, here is why Neo Geo and SNK and Terry, Fatal Fury, this stuff matters. Terry is an icon, even if he isn't necessarily a popular character in modern gaming culture.
Absolutely. And I always appreciate that when he can really prop them up. And, it really says something that, perhaps popularity doesn't really matter that much to Sakurai. It's whether it's a meaningful inclusion and whether he can do something fun with them. And that's obviously the case with Terry and especially Piranha Plant.
Oh, and I would even say Banjo-Kazooie. I mean, they're not important or popular these days, but they have an important part in Nintendo's history, and fans have requested them. So I think really the point here is that any rule that anybody on the internet says applies to Smash characters doesn't. None of those rules matter. The only rules that matter are the ones in Sakurai's head. None of your other rules matter.
I was right about one of the rules. I was positive Mai Shiranui was not going to show up at all. And I was correct.
Okay, I guess the age restriction is one rule.
Yes.
But like people said guns wouldn't be in Smash. Both Bayonetta and Joker have guns. A Nintendo character wouldn't be in Smash. We got Snake, and technically Joker isn't really being associated with Nintendo apart from Persona Q2. But as Ash says, rules don't really exist. Whoever wants to get in can get in. I'm not saying Goku's going to be in, but I'm also not saying that there's no rule saying Goku can't be in.
Well, I think that actually is Sakurai's one hard line that he's like, we will not cross. That he's basically said, like, no anime characters or movie, like, it has to come from a video game.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only, like, hard rule.
Which, fair.
Right.
Yeah,
Sure.
Totally fair.
I actually find it more interesting when we get a character that I don't know that much about. Because when you're expecting the character, there's no surprise anymore. Like, if they bring... Like, Rex and Pyra, I think they will be a great character for Smash. But I'm also expecting them. And when they're revealed, I'm going to be like, oh yeah, they're here. But I'm not going to freak out about it, because it's just kind of an expectation at this point. So I think I'd rather have these out-of-left-field franchises join Smash than ones that everyone's expecting to join Smash.
Well, John, that's perfect for you, because you're not a Kingdom Hearts fan, so when Sora gets added as number 5, you can learn all about him.
Well, I think that I actually would. If Sora joined Smash, I actually would go back and play Kingdom Hearts.
Sure.
I love learning about new franchises, and Smash brought me to Fire Emblem and even Kid Icarus and a bunch of other franchises that I never touched before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have an interest in Fatal Fury, like at least checking out those games, because so many people love them, and it was really interesting going through doing my stream and having people like in the chat actually know these characters and references and freak out about them. And they seemed genuinely happy. I was like, that is awesome when you can
That's great.
hit those marks and whatnot. And boy, is there a lot of SNK love when it comes to the music.
Oh, hell yeah. I mentioned that there were 2 favorite parts of that presentation. That was the other one. 50 music tracks for this stage. That's even more than Dracula's Castle. Mm-hmm. And Wily Castle, I think.
It's even more than Final Fantasy, man.
Even
more.
I know. That's
so
crazy,
hard.
Right? Yeah. That's just... But also, not only are there 50 tracks, but it's not just from Fatal Fury and King of Fighters and all that. It's from Samurai Showdown, Metal Slug, Psycho Soldier... Like, Athena. Like, that's so cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they went to town on this. There's so much love. It makes me wish that other franchises, the other DLC characters would have gotten this love too. Like, imagine if Joker got, like, Shin Megami Tensei music and other Atlus franchises. That would have been so cool. But you gotta love what they've given you here. There's just so much variety.
It really is. And we did get, I don't know if you saw this yet, Ash, but we did get a new Yoko Shimomura remix.
I did. I've already gone through the music list and seen all the arrangement supervisors, and I absolutely saw her name in there. And one of my rituals after a new DLC character comes out is I just go through the music list, listen to everything, and set the rate, for each song on the stage. So I know what I'm doing tonight, probably have a beer or something and just go through every track.
There's an hour and 40 minutes of music in that from these songs.
So good.
Here's a question. So a DLC character is what? Are they at $5 on their own?
I think so. Something
$6.
Like that.
$5.99.
Would you pay $5.99 for 50 tracks on their own?
Yes.
100% sure in a second.
Exactly. I mean, that just shows you how much value is here. Not only do you get a brand new stage and a character, but you just get this huge variety of music, and I would pay that much just for those.
Now, to be fair, you're talking to someone who did pay $1 per DLC song in Theater Rhythm Curtain Call and bought every single one of them. So I may not be the best judge,
Well,
but
I'm also saying, like, again, that's 99 cents per song, and the same thing with Harmony of Despair for Castlevania. You could buy songs and have them play on any stage, and those were 99 cents each. So typically, new songs individually are 99 cents, and we're getting 50 in this one. This is of like 2 full albums almost.
along with a character and a stage and spirits and all that good stuff.
Though we haven't really touched on the stage that much, to be honest. What do you guys think about the stage?
I like it a lot, to be honest. It may at first seem a little bit basic, and I was worried about that at first, but as soon as we learned that it wasn't actually a walk-off, and I have no problem with walk-offs, but it just seemed like a Pokemon Stadium-style stage, but for visually. But then we realized there's that barrier there that has to break after a certain amount of damage, and before that, characters bounce off, they kind of ricochet, thus increasing combo potential. There's no other stage like that in the game, which is crazy when you think there are over 100 stages. But it's a completely new mechanic just for this one stage, and I'm a fan of it personally.
Like with Yggdrasil for Dragon Quest, I enjoyed the stage, I enjoyed the backdrop, but just as a stage itself, if you're not playing with items on, it starts to feel just a bit too samey to other stages like Skyloft.
Sure.
Whereas this one is unlike anything else. There's no stage with this kind of gimmick. So yeah, I'm really a big fan of this one.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun to just see them hit it, and the smashes are almost more satisfying when they do break through, because you can see the shattering of the barrier and go through, or you can just try to hit them upwards and try to get there. But the skybox is so high that it even takes that a while. So it's a nice drag out fight that a lot of people have kind of made with the stage creator, where they'll just put sides on and then just a box where you just ping off everything, except done right and balanced. And I think this is a new favorite because as you guys said, it looks basic. It's just a football field with King of Fighters in the background and random characters showing up along the sides, but that wall mechanic just makes it so much more interesting and way more than you would think.
I guess it's quite similar to Shadow Moses.
That's what I was going to say.
I feel like this just feels a bit more dynamic than that. To me, Shadow Moses had a great background when Metal Gear ran past or something like that. But the actual stage itself was always just a bit too claustrophobic for me.
Yeah, I hear it's too vertically aligned. You don't get a lot of horizontal space until those walls break, and then it becomes a standard walk-off. So here with King of Fighters Stadium, you have all that horizontal space with these walls, and it just makes for a really unique feeling for among every other stage in the game.
Yeah. So I'm kind of down for it. Honestly, it's a really good DLC pack. There's a lot of content here. Terry might not be the most gimmicky compared to what came before, but it's still a lot of fun, and I don't know, I'm kind of digging it.
I think I'm enjoying playing Terry more than I thought I would, because I don't really... Well, it's funny, because I don't really enjoy playing Ryuken in Smash, but I know way more, and have way more of a knowledge and skill base in Street Fighter than I do Fatal Fury or King of Fighters, and yet, in Smash, I really enjoy playing Terry a lot more. So, it's a strange thing going on there, where, I know more about the Street Fighter outside, but am worse with the characters in Smash. It's weird.
Funny that you bring up Ryu and Ken as well, because this is the first time in a very long time that those franchises have crossed over, Street Fighter and King of Fighters. SNK vs. Capcom 2 must have been, 15, 20 years ago at this point? It's been a long time.
I think it was 2001 or something?
Yeah. So this is a bit of a reunion for those franchises. So just in that respect, this is just a great crossover potential.
Yeah.
I love it.
No, it really is. I mean, I think everything with his victory animations and his taunts, it feels like they really, of course, this is Sakurai, so of course he did, but he really captured the essence of Terry and what we have here in Smash.
He's a great counter to power characters too. I was playing against Ganondorf, and Terry's side special can just go straight through his kick. So I find it cancels out a lot of those more powerful moves. So it's going to be a great sort of counterbalance to some of the stronger characters.
Absolutely. I noticed that right away. It was when I fought Ganondorf in classic mode and went through him and had no issue with him whatsoever. It's okay, I'm really enjoying this, and I'm excited to see where they go. Real quick though, how do you guys feel about his costume options? Because I know there's a lot of hope for variations on his costume, and I like the fact that his hat has different things on it, like Mark of the Wolf or King of Fighters or Southtown, stuff like that. But we did not get his Garo outfit, which I know a lot of people were hoping for. And of course, we didn't get female Terry.
Yeah, his costumes, his alts costumes, whatever, feel a little bit disappointing. And I mean, I say that as somebody who's not a hardcore Fatal Fury fan, so I'm naturally not going to notice every reference, but it just feels like a bunch of color variations. Of course, those color variations are based on different characters, but I don't know. Maybe we've been spoiled. I mean, honestly, we've been spoiled by Hero, right? Because Hero has 4 different alts, and and Joker has 2 costumes, and so it is really fine the way it is, but it does feel a little bit, I guess, a little disappointing.
It's a bit too predictable because these alts are these are basically his colors from Fatal Fury and King of Fighters, so it's what you would expect it to be, which isn't necessarily like an exciting thing to see.
Mm-hmm. I would have been nice if they did throw in the Mark of the Wolves costume in there and just make it stand out a little bit more, because it's a very different look, having the different coat and actually not having his hair tied up or anything like that. If we're not getting Mai, I'm not surprised we're not getting female Terry. That'll just confuse people, so yeah.
Exactly. And and another angle, I think this was brought up maybe in a discussion that we had before or something, but another angle on Mai is that it would be really strange to have Mai in this game and not Chun-Li. Because like when she is the first lady of fighting games. Like, I'm sorry, Mai, she's a huge deal, but Chun-Li comes first. And I just don't feel like it just would be weird to have Mai here and not Chun-Li in some form.
Mm-hmm. Maybe that'll be our final DLC character, Chun-Li.
Can you imagine?
People would freak out, but I would love it.
Yeah, I mean, hey, I couldn't say it wouldn't be my first choice, but I can't say it'd be a bad one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm excited for the next one, whatever it might be, and I think we're probably all in agreement that Game Awards is when we're going to find out about it.
Probably.
Yeah, that's what I think.
I mean, the potential isn't even close with that, though, because after the 5th character, there's going to be even more.
Yeah, that's crazy. So yeah, I'm digging this DLC. It's a lot of fun. A little weird about how they released it all, because 45-minute presentation, then boom, it's out. Not even the usual at night release. And I real quick before we end this off, that is another really weird aspect about this, because it was really early for the States, especially if you're on the West Coast. Sorry, Ash. And really late for Japan. The only ones that kind of had it okay was John with Europe.
Yay.
It was very odd, that timing for it, and then especially to have him come out right away, like within 30 minutes of it being over.
Yeah, there was no warning of that either. I don't think the presentation ever once stated that Terry was going to be out after the presentation.
No, like I had to find out on Twitter that it was out, and then I tweeted out myself, because the presentation did not make that clear at all. So I was figuring, okay, well, sometime later today, whenever later today. No, it was immediately out after the presentation, and the servers again, they got hammered, but they did a great job this time. So we didn't get a repeat of Joker. We got Hero and Banjo-Kazooie, and now Terry with a smooth release.
Yeah, I think Joker just kind of caught him off guard. And
yeah.
Ready ever since.
One more thing I will say, you guys will be very happy to know that I checked the patch notes and Mega Man is untouched, so he has not been nerfed. I know you guys are really worried about that.
Yeah,
it's funny. Actually, they didn't really adjust that many characters in this patch. Maybe Sakurai thinks that the metagame is at a comfortable place, but it's really only 10 or so characters who have been touched, if that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's cool.
I guess one thing that we should talk about as well is the Mii costumes. They weren't too exciting. There were some Virtua Fighter ones up from Smash for Wii U, and the rest of them were SNK characters. But of course, the glaring omission were the apparently leaked ones, being we had Mallow from Mario RPG and also a Cacodemon from Doom. Neither of those were showcased in here. Do you guys think it was fake? I think we were all on Team Fake to begin with, but after this presentation, do you believe it's still fake?
Yeah, it's fake.
Totally. I thought it was fake from the get-go. It just never really felt like a legit thing to me. I mean, I guess, for the sake of argument, there is a possibility that those are part of the 5th DLC pack, and that's a super early leak, but no, it's fake.
Yeah, it's just fake at this point, and it's not happening. So, I mean, it might still be a thing, but it's definitely that whole thing was fake.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, agreed.
nothing too crazy there. But at any rate, any final thoughts on Terry or Sakurai's presentation?
If Sakurai does another presentation similar to this, I won't be disappointed, because I think Sakurai's presence is enough to carry this kind of presentation. He's so charming and funny, and it's just great to see his insight into games and how he plays Smash. It's just fun watching him like dual wield controllers. But
Yeah.
I do think there should maybe be some kind of hook. I don't think we should have another repeat of just classic mode without any editing again. But yeah, it was still pretty fun to watch, and maybe Terry releasing straight afterwards did kind of undermine a lot of it, though.
Yeah, that's the thing, is just like they didn't need to spend 10-ish minutes on content that people can get right after the presentation. Again, I'm not at all disappointed that we didn't get a new stage or whatever as part of that 45 minutes, because that was all speculation and we just had to figure out ways that we thought they'd fill the time. But I think they could have cut out the classic mode stuff and ended up with a much stronger 30-ish minute presentation as opposed to a 45-minute presentation that just felt too long.
Agreed. So, all right. Well, I think that covers it for our Terry discussion. So thank you for watching. And if you like this video, be sure to like us on Facebook and Twitter at GameXplain. And of course, make sure to subscribe to GameXplain for more on Super Smash Bros. And other things gaming as well. Until next time, bye.